In this class we're going to talk about some issues involved in recruitment. So recruitment occurs when a job vacancy arises. So companies go looking for workers when there is a need for the workers, when there is an obvious vacancy and an obvious job to be completed, an obvious task to be completed. An organisation will then have to fill this vacancy by adopting a range of recruitment methods and procedures. And that's what we want to talk about in the course of the next few slides. The aim of the recruitment process is to identify appropriate candidates suitable for the job being advertised and who will help the business achieve its objectives. So it's a question of finding the right person to work for the organisation, the person having the appropriate skills and aptitudes to make a contribution towards the fulfilment of the organisation's objectives. Now, determining a vacancy, well, this can be caused by a new product development or by growth within the organisation. The company simply gets bigger, and that could be caused by increased sales. So generally speaking, business expansion is a cause for increased numbers of vacancies and an increased requirement for workers. It could be, of course, a new business, completely new business coming into existence, which will need a complete workforce. But for existing businesses, generally speaking, it's caused by growth. It could also be caused by some employees leaving, and they may leave for a variety of reasons, as I indicate here. It could be people leaving for a change of career, or because of sickness, or retirement, or maternity. They wish to leave, perhaps to have a family and to look after their family. Or they may leave because there are better job prospects offered by a competitor. So a whole variety of reasons why people may leave an organisation, but once they've left, there is a gap in employment within the organisation which will create the vacancy. The need for recruitment can be overcome by the following factors. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the organisation will go looking for a worker when perhaps someone leaves or the business expands. It could be that a new work structure is developed. Perhaps the workforce, the existing workforce, could be deployed more efficiently, or perhaps more efficient capital could be brought into work in cooperation with the workforce. More specialist machinery and more dedicated machinery to completing certain tasks, better designed around the requirements of the business. That would obviate or reduce the need to have a vacancy or to fill a vacancy. It could be that the existing workforce are asked to do some overtime working. Perhaps they're working on 37 hours a week or 40 hours a week, and some incentive is given to the existing workforce to work an extra 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week or whatever it is, and in return they may be paid additional sums, perhaps time and a half. So if you work out the hourly rate over the week and offer them 50% extra, perhaps, they may be willing to work overtime. Well, that may reduce or eliminate the requirement for an extra worker, because recruiting an extra worker is expensive. Training the extra worker and integrating them into the workforce and into the culture of the business and the practices of the business. So getting the existing workforce to work longer hours in return for some remuneration that may be a solution. Maybe that part-time work could be established for some workers. Sometimes, depending on the nature of the work, depending on the location of the business, part-time work may be created, and existing workers' family members may join the company on a part-time basis to augment their family incomes. It may also be possible to spread the working hours. So, for example, introducing Saturday working and asking the workforce to attend on Saturdays, in return perhaps double their hourly rate, their hourly weekday rate. Some workers may be willing to attend work on Saturday, and in this way it spreads the working hours, and again may reduce the requirement for an extra worker. In the recruitment process, step one is to look carefully at the requirements of the job. What is the job requirement, or what are the job requirements? What are the duties to perform? What's required in this particular job, the one that is trying to be filled? So the management will look at the job, look at the requirements of the job, and specify the duties, and then look at any special qualifications that may be required to complete the tasks that have been identified. It may be the person needs to have good school qualifications, or a good specialist qualification, perhaps in engineering or in accountancy or whatever. So it's important to try and form a link and see the linkage between qualifications and the requirements of the job. Also, it's important to work out precisely how many workers are required. To save doing the exercise over and over, one at a time, look at the number of vacancies, look at the total job requirement, and estimate the number of workers required, and do it in one process. It's cheaper to place the advertisements in the press, in specialist magazines, to advertise it generally. If it's for a number, it's spread over. So instead of saying the company wants one, it wants perhaps five workers to do a particular set of tasks. So set out the job description and the person specification. What sort of person they want, and try and link the two so that there is a thorough understanding of what is required, what's the job, and what sort of person is required. Step two is to attract attention from the employee. So advertise the job vacancy. Make the employee aware that there is a vacancy. And it could be that it's online recruitment, or it could be it's through the more traditional methods. For example, going to advertise with job agencies and going to traditional press outlets and or specialist magazines. So it could be online, or it could be through the more traditional outlets. So job centres may be contacted, and the precise nature of the job description indicated to them, and they may do some of the filtering at the start to see which worker best meets the job description and pass them on. So some of the filtering will be done at that point. Some jobs are indicated by word of mouth. Workers in the business know there's a job vacancy coming up, and they have a friend or they know someone, and there could be personal recommendation of this type. And that also can be quite efficient and can be quite useful. Personal recommendation sometimes means that the worker recruited is more reliable and will try hard not to let their friend down, so they will dedicate their energies to the requirements of the job. Agencies. Well, there are lots of specialist agencies, and indeed there are lots of general agencies as well. I've just mentioned job centres earlier, but there are private agencies which recruit personnel for a fee. Generally speaking, the agencies are looking at very specialist jobs and very specialist occupations. For example, accountancy or computing or some of the more professional type of jobs. But again, it's a source for recruitment, so it's worth noting. Now, identify the right candidate for the job. Well, shortlist the candidates that hold the relevant experience and qualifications. So make a shortlist and arrange interviews with the appropriate candidates. So make a shortlist and select some for interview. Undertake the interviews and hopefully select the right candidate. So undertake the interviews and try to make it as objective as possible. Try to get a good interview panel together, people who will be working specifically with that job and with that candidate when the candidate has been recruited, but also HR, the human resource people, someone from general management, and even an outside person would be useful. Perhaps someone from an agency or someone from the quite senior within the industry itself. So it depends on the type of job, of course, and the seniority of the job, how senior the job is, and the position advertised. The 3 steps together help organizations in the recruitment of selecting the right candidates. So the 3 steps help to select the right candidates to fill the position. It's an ongoing process. New employees are required constantly. It's generally speaking there's a turnover of labour in most companies. People leave for various reasons throughout the year and new people will be recruited. It's the process of life. People want to retire, or people want to move house, or people find new careers, or they want new experiences. So they leave for a variety of reasons, and the companies are in positions where they're almost forced to engage in the recruitment process. So essentially it's a question of finding the right candidate and advertising for the right candidate, making a short list of the people who respond and interviewing them to see if they are appropriate. So quite a straightforward little exercise this class, so I'm going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.